Hello there, Monstars. Welcome to our next flip video, and in this flip video, we are going to be talking about picture graphs. Sometimes you hear these referred to as pictographs, but basically it is taking a data set and representing that through pictures. So I've kind of put an example here for you. The title of this graph is the number of books sold at the book fair, and it gives the days of the week, Monday through Saturday. And you see we have a label here for the days and then the books sold. And we have that each picture of a book actually represents 5 books. This is your scale down here. So a picture graph sometimes you use to represent larger numbers. And so a lot of times an individual picture will represent more than one unit. It could represent 2, 3, 4, 5. In this case, it's 5. So on Monday, if we read our graph, we would see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books, but each one represents 5. So if I count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, there was actually 30 books sold on Monday. So we're going to take a closer look at some pictographs and see how to make our pictographs with a data set. Okay, so for our first set, our data set here, we have a set of data that shows that students were surveyed and they were asked what is their favorite sport. They were given the choice between basketball, soccer, football, and baseball. And the student votes came out with 7 for basketball, 6 for soccer, 8 for football, and 5 for baseball. So we're going to take this information, this data set, and we're going to put it into a pictograph. So the first thing that we need to do on our whisk is we need to draw a long rectangle, because in pictographs we make our information go horizontally. So we're going to read across just like we would on a book or in a book. And then we're going to list our sport choices. So we have basketball is our first choice, then soccer, then football. Make sure you're writing this on your whisk, and then baseball. And we're going to separate each sport from each other all the way through, and then we're going to separate by making a vertical line down the sport from the number of student votes. So here we get to be creative, and we get to picture or take a picture, draw a picture of an object that we want to represent a student vote. So in this case, I'm going to use a smiley face, and that smiley face is going to represent 1 vote. So for basketball, 7 students chose basketball. So how many smiley faces do I need to draw in my basketball row? If you said 7, you are correct. So we're going to draw 7 smiley faces. And I'm going to have to draw kind of small to make sure they all fit. Now, I want you to think about something here. If I decided to make each smiley face represent 2 votes, would I still draw 7 smiley faces in? You're right, I would not. I would draw 3 whole smiley faces, which would give me 6, and then I would have to make like half of a smiley face to represent 7. Because if I drew 4 smiley faces, that would be too many. That would be 8. I only need 7, so one of my smiley faces would have to be in half. And that's only if I would have decided to make each smiley face worth 2. But I decided to make each smiley face worth 1. Let's go on to soccer. So soccer had 6 students vote for soccer. So I need to draw 6 smiley faces, 1 for each vote. How many did I have for football? You're right, I had 8. So for football, I had 8 students, so I'm going to make 8 smiley faces. I'm going to have to make my smiley faces a little bit smaller. Okay, and then lastly for baseball, I had 5. draw a smiley face for each vote. So I'm going to draw 5 smiley faces. All right, now the only thing that I'm missing on my pictograph right now is a title. What would be a good title for this pictograph? This was our student's favorite, what was it? Right, student's favorite sport. Okay, good job. All right, now I want you to look at this data set. I surveyed my students to ask them where they'd like to go for vacation. I had 8 students who said they'd like to go to the lake, 5 that said the beach, 4 that said the mountains, and 7 that said the amusement park. What I want you to do now is I want you to push pause on your video, and I want you to take this data set and I want you to turn it into a pictograph down here. Now, your scale, however, I want you to change your scale. We'll use smiley faces again, but now I want you to have each smiley face represent 2 votes. So push pause, go ahead and work this problem, and when you're ready to go over it, go ahead and hit play. All right, let's start with the lake. Now, at the lake, I had 8 students who chose the lake. Now, if each smiley face represents 2 votes, then I need to draw how many smiley faces? Your answer is 4. If I count by 2s, I can see that this represents 2, 4, 6, 8 smiley faces. Or 8 students, I guess I should say. At the beach, things get a little different because we have 5 students who chose the beach. So 1 whole smiley face represents 2. If I draw 2 smiley faces, I have 4 student votes shown. But I need to show 5. If I draw another whole smiley face, that's going to show 6 students. But I only need 5. So I'm going to have to take that 3rd smiley face and I'm going to cut it in half. So it's going to be like half of a face, 1 eye, and half of a smile. And that represents 5 student votes. Now on the mountains, I have 4 students who chose the mountains. That's an even number, and I'm counting by 2s. So I can have 2 smiley faces. And then at the amusement park, I had 7. So I'm kind of in the same situation I was in before with the beach. So counting by 2s, how many whole smiley faces will I have? You're right, I'll have 3. I cannot draw a 4th one because that represents 8. So for my 4th smiley face, I'm going to have to split it in half to represent 7 students that chose the amusement park. I also need to make sure that I have a title. So we can do students' favorite vacations. Be a good title. And you can also use this graph to ask yourself some questions. Like you could ask yourself, what is the favorite vacation choice for our students? Yeah, the answer is the lake. We have the most students choose the lake. Also, I want you to think about, and I want you to write on your whisk, what's one question that you could ask a friend using the information from the graph? So think of one question you could ask your friend to answer using the information on this graph. Make sure you record that on your whisk when you bring it in. All right, and finally, we're going to finish with a trivia question. What is a frog's favorite year? What is a frog's favorite year? Don't forget your whisk is due on Wednesday. I hope you have a great night, Monstars, and I will see you soon.